Hello. Hi. Sorry if it's a little noisier this week. I had to turn the air conditioning on because it's hot as balls. I don't really remember how to do that, Grim. Sorry, it's been a while since I've actually changed anything in terms of my Restream account. So I don't have any advice for you, but I'm sure a quick Google search would probably tell you. Let's load up FL Studio because I haven't even opened that up yet. I'm a mess today, and that's fine. It's okay to be a mess sometimes, even if sometimes means all the time. Production feedback stream. There we go. Aha. All right. Sorry if I'm eating the mic, by the way. Let's see how this works, shall we? I cannot wait for that AC to start working though, because I'm cooking. It's humid. It's warm, it's humid, and it's also warm. Okay. And now we get the music that we're listening to. I'm very proud of you guys for always. Did I make that better or worse? Better. I'm proud of you guys for always having stuff to submit every week. I don't know how you do it. Must be nice. Oh, wait, not May 31st. June 7th. There we go. Okay. And I'm also drinking hot coffee, which is not helping. Is the air conditioning very, loud? Can you guys hear it going in the background? It doesn't really matter because I have to have it on or I'll die. So, whatever. Okay, let's have a listen. Aiden Dodge and Cat Attack? What? That is not a collaboration I thought I'd ever see. This should be interesting. Let's have a listen. That was really cool. I enjoyed that. I would say that the vocals should be a little clearer and more in the middle. I like the effects. Don't get me wrong. I like the effects that are on the vocals, but I think they should be layered underneath a main clear vocal in the center. I feel like I say this every time on every song. Maybe it's a me thing. I don't know. I also think that during some moments you could really like emphasize or elevate certain moments by just having a bit of a clearer drum beat, less ambient, you know, like, because you kind of have a like you have a drum beat in there, but it's very subdued, which I get. It's kind of an ambient track, but I think modulating that subduedness could allow you to like really pick the song up in certain moments. Maybe when let me see. Because I mean, like, yeah, it's not a typical song that has like verse, chorus, verse, chorus, verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, chorus. But at the same time, I can understand the lyrics. Yeah, I think that the track is so ambient and the beat is so ambient and the vocals are so ambient. I think that you're missing an opportunity to have some interesting contrast of maybe the track swells up and then there's like a more solid drum beat that's a bit more in your face. And overall, I don't think it would hurt to have the vocals. I don't want to say dry vocals in the center, but more less like phasey, you know, interesting vocals. Have like a more clear vocal in the center, and then have that stuff panned out underneath of it, so that you still have that cool effect, and it still sits in the mix, but the vocals still cut through more concisely, I guess is maybe the word. But yeah, it's sick. I enjoy this track. There was a couple moments. Let me see if I can find one of them. And I felt the need to let my demons hide. And I felt the need to let... Like, again, there's some timing issues with the vocals. The performance of the vocal isn't bad, but I think you could go through and that like just the way that it almost sounded like it had swing for half of that phrase and then wasn't swingy for the other half. So I would say that you could probably go and tighten up the performance a little bit, whether that's doing other takes or just kind of cutting things and sliding them around to make them a bit more on time. I think that would go a long ways. But overall, it's a cool track. I enjoy it. So I hope that helps. Okay, let's move on. We got Bass Freak, Wake Up Draft 3. Okay, there's some really fun ideas in this. This is like a silly track and I dig it. The fake out. I love it and hate it at the same time. I love it because of how out of pocket it was, but I also hate it because I'm kind of like a little confused, which is probably the point. But then it drops, and I'm like, oh, okay, all right. And it takes me a second to get back into it. I think it's like maybe if the fake out was a bit more in time with the song, because we've got. I don't know. Is it in time? Is it just kind of a slightly more swingy beat or something? I don't really know. To me, it loses too much momentum before the drop happens. So maybe the trick would be to is it even in the same key? Like I get it. I get the idea of it, but I think the execution could be better to not stray so far from, like, people are ready to headbang and then everybody's just kind of like looking at each other confused, and then the headbanging comes back in. If there was a way to have people still like nodding their head even during like the head scratching question mark part to maintain the momentum, so that when it drops we're still ready to drop, I think that might be the trick to nail the humor and the silliness and the out-of-pocketness, but not ruin the flow of the song. I think that's going to be the tricky part. The sub during this moment caught me off guard. It's like very, very loud and wompy. So I don't know. Maybe take out the sub during that moment. I mean, I don't mind the lack of reverb. I get it. It's super dry. I don't mind it. I kind of like it. One thing I will say is when it gets to this section, I love that you brought back the dun 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 dun, but I think it should be way further in the, like, up front in the mix. It's kind of like an afterthought, but to me, that's like the coolest, the coolest part of this section. Where is Sawyer? Is this Sawyer? Is that Sawyer? Could we bump my request to? I really would love to sleep. So you want me to play it like next? I guess is the idea. Let's see. Hold on one sec. Let me grab it and then do this. Wrong button. Wrong button. How do I? Oh, there we go. That was difficult. There we go. Okay. Yes, I know what it is. I don't have an iPhone. I have a OnePlus 12 now, which has really shitty Wi-Fi service for some reason, which sucks. But anyway, I do recognize the tone. So I think that bringing that way more up front in the mix is gonna do good things. And then again, I think that the ringtone is like the main part of the song, so it should be very upfront. Another thing that I noticed was there are certain sounds like this one right here. That wow wow, it's so low in the mix compared to everything else. So there's some wubs that are right in my face, and there's some wubs that are like far back. So there's just some balance issues. Yeah, I definitely pushed that one up quite a bit. Oh, God. I used to date somebody with an iPhone, and that was the bane of my existence, hearing that sound. Anyway, cool track. I think it's fun. I hope that my notes give you some ideas. Let's move on. We got Sawyer. Oh, my God, Sawyer? Yeah, I mean that was dope. I dig the parts that aren't congy or bongy or dongy or whatever the kick drum thing is called. I like those better because that's my music taste, but I can appreciate how you are bringing this into your world. I think the one piece of actually useful advice I might be able to give you for once is that this is dope. The vocals are buried. Can't understand. I think he's saying sexy something, but I can't even really tell. So that's the original mix. Haven't changed any of that. There were vocals. Oh, so you don't have. So what is? I don't know what is. It's more than just the kick drums, right? That you did. It's an edit. Okay. Is that... I understand. I mean, not a flip. I named it wrong. Okay. I think it's dope. The original track is fun. I think whoever did the original track should turn the vocals up. But, yeah. Okay, cool. Sorry if that was underwhelming on my part, but I like the track. And I can appreciate you putting the distorted kick drums on it because that's the style of music. Okay, let's move on. Bat's Life 12? What a strange title. Green, or well, artist name. Bats Life 12. Is that like David Attenborough? Like you get a box set and there's 12 DVDs? I don't know. Anyway, let's have a listen. Stop signs. Stop signs. Okay, this intro is too long, and the vocals are kind of muddy and not clear. I only know them because I recognize them from the song that they are from. So the intro has some good elements that are building, but just the rate at which they are building is taking a little too long, in my opinion. Is this a new Kaidia reoccurring joke now? Stop signs. So I would kind of expect there to be like a beat drop here, which there isn't. Holy fuck. Okay, what? There's some weird low frequency thumping happening. Yeah, okay, so to me this builds and then builds and then I'm assuming builds. It looks like this is a masterclass. This is a masterclass in building. Oh, that's where the low frequency sound is coming from. Look at this. Whatever this instrument is. So to me, I don't really necessarily understand what this master crap. I don't necessarily understand what this is trying to accomplish in a genre kind of style. Like it's kind of breakbeat-ish. I don't know what kind of box to put this in order to give you relevant advice. But I do know that just in general, the track is just constantly building. There are some cool elements, and I'm not a huge fan of that like circusy kind of na 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 thing. It's a little silly. Which the track kind of has. I think this is the problem. I'm trying to wrap my mind around this while I'm saying the words, and it's not working out very well for me. But I think the problem is the track is suffering from an identity crisis. On one side, there's kind of this dark, mysterious, kind of sexy, the green light vocal thing, and like some of the rhythmic kind of pulsating sounds. But then you also have like silly, like the carnival kind of lead sound, like that. So to me, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me in terms of like a cohesive idea. I think that there's a lot of experimentation happening in this, which is good, to learn how to use all these tools. Like that, that's kind of reserved for silly. Like there's really no other way to spin that sound besides that's just the silly sound that happens when silly things are happening to silly people, you know? And usually there's like a Ferris wheel in the background. But I just don't know that it necessarily fits into this style of track. The next thing is that snare is way too loud. We could touch on some technical things, but I think overall the biggest piece of advice I could give you is try to figure out what you're going after and then pull up some reference tracks and do a real harsh comparison. Not necessarily, sometimes that can be overwhelming when you're like, this is what I'm trying to achieve and this is where I'm at. And the distance between those two things is so far that it can be very discouraging. But every time you open up your program and every time you experiment and try stuff, you are getting better. There's no way around that. You are always getting better no matter what. So what I would do is open up a track and focus on one element of it. Maybe the arrangement. How do they build up? What happens after they build? How long is that section? What do they do to continue that section or to elaborate? Like try to break off smaller bite-sized chunks and focus in on those specific things. Then maybe focus on like bass line. This doesn't really have a bass line. There's no bass happening. Yeah, so this just straight up does not have a bass line. So I think using reference tracks is generally a good practice. It can be discouraging and it can be dangerous if you just start ripping off other people's tracks 100%. That's definitely happened before. But it is a useful learning tool. You just got to try and focus on specific parts of the track and try not to be overwhelmed by the fact that you are not making Skrillex level music, because that can be painful at times. Okay, I think that's what I got for you on this one. Thank you for sending. Let's move on. All right, we got Zetmo Alive. Which one was it that somebody's... Oh, another piece of advice for Bat's Life 12. You sent in an MP3, but it wasn't .mp3. There was no file extension. I just converted it to an MP3. So... anyway, whatever. Okay, let's listen to this one.
When I see something that I don't realize before, change something inside me, like I just get awakened. Before it gets too close to the end, I realize that I cannot do it without your existence. It begins right. Let me introduce. It begins.
Okay, this is interesting. This is a different style for sure. One thought I had was during this like initial wall of sound thing that was happening, maybe like so you have like a lot of like Foley sounds and like high frequency noise kind of stuff. I wonder what would happen if you like as you were getting towards the end of this, you like started to low pass those out and we were left with there's some really nice melodic things happening, but they're kind of masked by this like wall of noise. So what if you were like, what if you like, I don't know, you could maybe shorten this by half in terms of length, or just have something else happening, which that's why I suggested maybe a low pass coming in on some of those elements that are like starting to dull them out so that other elements can cut through. Cause there's a lot of complexity here. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's kind of, you know, par for the course for the style. But if you low pass some of that and you pulled some of that noisy Foley stuff back a little bit, I think we'd hear some of those. There's like slidey melody things happening kind of underneath. But I'm kind of like, all I can hear is really like, so maybe try to modulate that. The next idea I had was when it dropped, I don't necessarily dislike the width of the like main arpeggio sound, but I kind of wish there was something in the middle that was mimicking it, or there was like a component of that sound that was smack dead in the middle. Because I kind of feel like we have like the kick and the snare in the center, and then the rest of the song is like hard panned left, right. I don't feel like there's a whole lot in the middle. So I think to somehow maybe it's another synth doing the same the arpeggio thing, but it's like dead mono and it's layered with the super wide ones, and then it gives us something in the center. But I don't know. I mean, I like stereo width. I know a lot of the times I'm talking about how things are on the side and they should be in the middle or whatever. Stereo width is good, but I still think that the main focal elements of the track should be anchored in the center, because that's where you would expect something. If you're looking at a stage, you would expect the main thing to be in the center. And I agree with King Cobra Live. I think bringing in some sort of like, so you have like the arpeggio that's very busy and fast, right? Very quick, but having like maybe a more sustained counterpoint melody that is playing off of that, or it's almost like reharmonizing the quick melody. That could be cool, and that could give this like second half of the drop more of a reason to exist, as if you brought in like a more sustained counter melody. So I think that was a great idea. Okay, let's keep going. Also, people said they don't like the snare. I don't actually mind the snare, but I don't know. Maybe it could be better. It's definitely rancid, as Raham would say if he was here. But I don't know. I kind of like, I like rancid snares, but I wouldn't say you shouldn't experiment with some other ones, because who knows? Maybe there's something that just has, maybe for the people in the chat that don't like the snare, what is it about the snare that you don't like? Let's hear that.
Just something that I don't realize before.
I will also say that, and this is probably just a personal preference, but saying "let me introduce" just kind of
Let me introduce.
I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of "let me introduce." It feels like Pitbull or something is gonna like hop on. I don't know.
Something that I don't realize. I realize that I cannot do it without your existence. It begins right.
agree again with King Cobra Live. I think that would be sick to have like some sort of glitchy, like broken beat style drop in this section. I like the wall of sound stuff, but to me, it's a means to an end. Like, I think the wall of sound should lead somewhere, and then it can provide context for something that's very cut up or something. Then there's a lot of contrast between this big blanket of noise to like this super like IDM thing. That would be super cool. I like that idea. Is that D Blue glitch? That takes me back, if that is what that plugin is. Isn't it called D Blue glitch? I think that's what it's called. Old school glitch IDM kind of plugin. Anyway, it's a cool track. It is very cool. I would at least take into consideration some of the thoughts that we've had. All right, let's check out Tesseract's Whep. Check.
It's so deep, you're not the first body slaving. And if I was an officer interrogating, the fire's it's so deep, you're not the first body slaving. And if I was an officer interrogating, catch,
See, this is a good example of, listen very carefully to how the vocals are straight down the center, and then there's lots of stuff that's panned around. You're making room for the vocals in the center, but then like a lot of the other elements are like wide, and they're surrounding the vocals, but the vocals are down the center.
I've been listening to fellas and they're stepping on your feet. It's so deep, you're not the first body slaving. And if I was an officer interrogating, it's so deep, you're not the first body slaving. And if I was an officer interrogating, the fire's it's so deep, you're not the first body slaving. And if I was an officer interrogating, the fire's it's so deep, you're not the first body slaving. And if I was an officer interrogating, catch, I've been listening to fellas and they're stepping on your feet. You're not the first one. You're not the first one. It's so deep, you're not the first body slaving. And if I was an officer interrogating, it's so deep, you're not the first body slaving. And if I was an officer interrogating, the fire's
Yeah, I mean, this is dope. What else can I say? Well, I do have a few things I could say. I have two main things. The effects are
stepping on your feet.
Yeah, the effects I think are kind of non-existent. Like I don't mean like ear candy effects. I mean like swooshes and crashes and uplifters and downlifters. This second drop is really what made me realize that, because the second drop just happened, and it kind of happened without any sort of impact or fanfare, or it just was like, now we're in the second drop, and it's dope. But I just think like a fucking swell and a crash would do a world of good to this, because it just kind of accentuates the start of the drop. I mean, like, I'm kind of explaining why crashes go at the start of things, but I think that would help a lot. Like, let's just take a whatever. Sure. So I mean, this is not the right symbol, but you get the idea. And we'll do this one for the reverse. I think just like going and focusing an hour on like transition effects and stuff would do this a world of good. Let's see what this might sound like. I'm not saying there are no effects. I'm sure there are some effects, but and you could even, if you want to keep the tightness, I do this a lot. Well, I used to when I made music. Just have the cymbal and then choke it on the first snare. And you can also make that a little less harsh by having like having a reverse kind of thing as well. So if we do this and then we do this, this will kind of make that abruptness sound very intentional. I think this is just not loud enough, to be honest, but let's try this. I think the track is just so fucking loud that like I need to turn it down so we can hear what is happening. So let's do that. Yeah, sure. That ish, you know. So that way you can still have that impact at the start of the drop, but it doesn't necessarily blur out all of the cool shit that's happening if you don't want this like big cymbal to be running through the whole thing. I had another thought. Oh, right. I think that this could benefit from some higher register sounds. This is something I struggle with. Like all the sounds, or most of the sounds, are bass sounds.
It's so deep, arrogating. It's so deep, you're not the first body slaving. It's so deep, you're not the first.
Like there are some, but during the drops, I think having just some chords or something that's a little more tonal. I think I've given you this advice numerous times, is that the sound design and everything is insane and it's fucking dope. But to have a little bit of like, hey, this is an F sharp. Hello, here's an F sharp. You know, like you can tell what notes they are. It's not totally ambiguous. But having some things that if you didn't have the low end of the track, like let's try that. Let's see what it sounds like if we just high pass the track. Let's switch this to stereo. You know what I mean? Like there's no clear, it's not super clear what notes are being played. I don't think that it warrants going through and changing everything. I just think that having some not greasy greasy bass wubs, like those are all great, but give us some stuff that's a little more tonal, a little more harmonic, melodic, etc. Just so that, yeah, some synths for the phone users. There you go. That's it. If nothing else, that's a good point too. But besides that, the track is very swaggy. I would call this swagalicious. And maybe I'm not allowed to say that, I don't know, but that's what I would describe this as. Yeah, it's sick. This is a dope track. I love all the weird little fucking thong. That straight up just sounds like a barrel being hit. Barrel snare, like Slipknot. Oh, I thought I just froze FL. Wow. Sounds pretty cool. Get out of here, you FL hater. Where did it go? Oopsies. It does kind of sound like the delay llama. The delay llama, what a fucking amazing name. We have passed the point of cool. Now we are getting into overcooked. This is well done. I should have stopped long ago. But anyway, I don't know what I'm doing or why I'm doing it, but I'm doing it. So. It's really just this kind of part. This is like... That's a pretty cool wub, I guess. Sorry, are you guys still here? Fuck. Anyway, I just kind of disappeared there for like 10 minutes. Sure, why not? That's cool. Anyway, those are my thoughts. I guess we'll just go ahead and do this. Cool. Save, sample, synth, oh my god, bass, fucked, 2020, oh my god. Wow, first 2024 fucked sample. I don't remember what the key was. This is called, test, or racked. All right, let's move on. Thank you for sending, and thank you for sticking with me while I did things. A flat, thank you. I will never put that in the title, and probably should. All right, let's move on. That's what I used to do when I made music. I would just do that shit all day long, and now I just make electronics all day long. It's funny how I just do something all day long. I never do things for part of the day. I only ever do them for the entire day. Let's check out Swiss cheese when the sun sets, and let's make sure that I don't... Oh, maybe actually mastered, it says. This sounds great. The vocals are just not there. Come on, fucking crank them. They need to be way louder. Oh my God, did I oh my God. Whoops. We accidentally injected the Tesseract into this track. Like, I like the way it sounds, but I can't understand the vocals at any point. I don't even know what the words are here. Yeah, my master is. So you need to, if they're peaking, then that's a compression thing, right? When you try to turn the vocals up, but some parts are too loud, that is literally what a compressor is for, right? To grab those peaks and pull them down. But like the track, it's nice that this is loud, and I would say that, yeah, this is not badly mastered. There's no distortion, it's loud, it sounds relatively balanced. It's just, to me, the vocals just are buried. If anybody out there says they can hear a difference between 44 and 48, good for you. Yeah, to me, the vocals, that's a big thing. Figure out how to control the dynamics of the vocals with a compressor. And then you will have a much easier time placing the vocal tracks. Because right now, they honestly sound like an ambient background kind of layer. And maybe that's how you meant it to be, but to me, that doesn't really make sense because they're saying words. But I don't understand the words. I did not understand a single word in this. I like the sound of the vocals. I like the melody that they're doing, but I cannot understand any of the words. And that is a problem. That's what we call a problem in the industry. But you did a good job on the mastering. It's honestly way better than what we're used to. We're used to this. Well, not that. Forget about that. We're used to this amount of track. And now we have this amount. So you have increased your loudness, and I'm sorry to get all technical on you here, but you've got an increase of loudness of that amount. So good job. Yeah, that's really all. That's the only real notes I have for you. This is the biggest thing is just the vocals. They are buried, and unbury them, dig them up. All right, cool. Thank you. Ne'er Do Well, the Tornado Song. Wow. Okay. It's okay. Don't worry about it. Some people upload a file that just says like song 1. And I'm just like, cool. Well, whoever made this, these are my thoughts. So don't worry about it.
Emergency, this is an extremely dangerous tornado with complete devastation likely.
Okay, so I get it. It's a tornado. Here are tornado sounds. I think what you need to do is balance the tornado sound, I get it, but it's also just it's overstaying its welcome far too long. I think what you should do is maybe have like use it a bit more sparingly in the drop, you know? Maybe have some like other sounds, and then maybe at the start of each measure you do a little tornado thing. And then maybe every other measure you do it a little different, or you know, like I just don't think sustaining it the whole fucking time is the move, because it just becomes like I actually feel like I'm in a tornado. It's very anxiety inducing. Yeah, like if you could just give us a break from the anxiety sounds every once in a while, I think that's going to go a long way. Because, like, I think those sounds are cool. It's just kind of like, I like the sound of a snare, but if you just hit the snare every 16th note for a full drop, it's going to be hard on my ears and I'm not going to like it, right? So I think just being a little more selective with how you phrase your wubs and dubs and bubs is probably going to go a long way. Let's keep going.
You could be killed. Do not enter the house or the tornado shelter. Do not delay. Seek shelter now.
And then again, like having it sustain the whole time just adds this layer of like dust to the track. This is a tough listen. I do agree that it's abrasive. It's anxiety inducing. And in a certain sense, you know, I feel like that's kind of what you're going for. It's a tornado, but I think that there's a slightly more tasteful way of inducing anxiety. Also, I don't know that having a drop that just keeps going wow 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 wow. I don't know that that's necessarily a good move. It gets kind of old, you know. That's where this style of music usually has like ow wub 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 meow you chip 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 wop. You know, like it switches it up and it creates almost a sentence. When you just like, if you think about these drops as sentences in a paragraph, which is like the paragraph is the section. Okay, hear me out. This is a new analogy that I'm forming. The song is a book. Each individual sections are paragraphs, and then within the paragraphs are the sentences. So, when you just have wah, 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 it's like you're just like typing like and. If you switched it up, now you're using different words. Now it might be me and you and Electric Boogaloo #2. You know, like that's, I don't know. That, to me, when you make instrumental music like this, you're not using words, so you have to use weird noises to convey an idea. And when you just sit on an LFO that's going wow, 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 wow for the entire drop, we're just using the same word over and over again. So I think getting in and applying that to not only the wow, 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 but also the tornado stuff, you could still hit the idea of the song, but have it be a little less hard on the ears and a little bit more interesting, because now there's more words in the sentences, and it's a great place to put numerous words, I think. Kick and snare and kick and snare and I feel like this is like what's the word? Dystopian? Dystopia? Is that a word? I feel like this is like 100 years in the future, and no longer do we have countries, but we have one nation that rules the entire world, and there are churches that people have to go to, and instead of worshiping like a god, they're worshiping like the president of the United States. And this is what it sounds like when you go into the church.
Dangerous tornado with complete devastation likely.
Like there's a good idea in here somewhere, but it's just covered in it's just covered in so like you can get away with maybe 3 or 4 quarter notes worth of wow, 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 and then it should go into something yo, wow, 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 wow. And then maybe it goes back to wah, wah, wah. You know, you gotta play with it a bit more. Anyway, I hope that my ramblings help. Moving on, we got chord grinding out. Okay. You got some clipping right here. I think that this section is, yeah, I agree with King Cobra Live. It's too empty. It doesn't build fast enough to maintain my attention. I kind of expected like a big change to happen there, but it didn't. Okay, hold on. This is sick. It might be my doing that's causing this. Nah, there's clipping. There's clipping happening. I think your kick drum is a bit loud, which is causing that clipping. I think that there's no side chaining. I think that might be the issue, or at least an issue. I think where you have that thick bass, and I think just numerous things should be side chained. I don't think anything is. But this is sick. This is very cool. I really like this section. I like all of the sections except from here to here took way too long and I got bored. Yeah, maybe not the side, maybe not the piano, but I think definitely the bass and yeah, I think side chaining. I think the takeaway from this for you this week is learn side chaining and do it on this. You were in for a change of pitch to the next one. Oh God. That's what I think. I think this is cool and wonky. Pacing's a little off in here, and then learn how to side chain. Side chain, side chain, side chain. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, wow. What a waveform this is. Oh my goodness. What is that? Look at this little Nike swoop on the top of whatever that is. Let's have a listen. King Cobra Live in my head. Can I just make I just want to give you my thoughts on your tag thing. I like it, but it's so muddy. Like it's like so much. It feels like it needs to have like 300 hertz out and like the high end up. It just sounds very dull and like muted. Wow. So, like, I'm going to sound like I'm beating off a dead horse, but I much prefer the sections that have the kick that has, like, some depth to it as opposed to... But that's not really good feedback because I understand that that's a thing that people want to happen, and they want to be a part of it, and they want to hear that with their ears. I don't necessarily understand it myself. I prefer like those sections that have like a dung dung dung, like a good like kick, and not like a kick. And maybe that's the thing. Maybe people like these kicks and not these kicks. As long as you're not kicking me in the nuts, it doesn't matter. What did I just click? Oh, I didn't even know I could do that. Anyway. So I think my only real technical advice on this is that I think the producer tag, I think it could just be like this. Let's see. So like this kind of thing. I think that doing this to your producer tag might be helpful, but hey, maybe that's another thing that is genre specific. I don't know. But pulling out like this, like, and more of that, like the high stuff, I think will help it cut through in a more meaningful way. And besides that, thank you for raising my heartbeat and confusion levels, as always. All right, moving on. Let's check out Johnny Gamble, Ghoul. Is the slight crunchiness on purpose? I'm hearing like a in the top end. I don't know if it's on purpose or if it's like some distortion coming from something. Also, this is the one that Johnny Gamble sent in last week, so I was just kind of comparing back and forth. Yeah, but it got a snare, and I like the snare. So maybe the crunchiness is on purpose. I don't really know. Like the crunchiness right here didn't necessarily sound like a bad thing. But it to me, when it's in the mix, it doesn't sound intentional. It just kind of sounds like there's something clipping a little bit. Will, it wasn't that I didn't want to, it was that I was unable to. So you can take your guilt shaming and fly that across to fucking Toronto. Wow. Now I'm going to cry after the stream. Thanks a lot. Okay, so I think you're on the right track with the drums. I think the drums helped a lot from last week's submission. I don't hate the hi-hats, but I also don't think that they are achieving their greatness. Love you too, bye. I don't think they're necessarily they're so light and dainty. They're like I don't want to offend anybody with these hi-hats. So I think getting a bit more aggressive with the drums, I think you're on the right track. Having a snare is definitely a good step in the right direction. But I think you need to keep going, and the drums need to be much more aggressive drums. And then I would also say that I just got a notification that Rayhem is playing Destiny 2. I guess Destiny 2 is more entertaining than my stream that I do once a week. Anyway, I think that the bass is a little too subby and doesn't have enough like grit to it. It's very just like Yeah. Fowler in chat, make a club banger in 3, 2. What? I don't know how to do that over chat, but anyway. I think that's basically what I have to say. I think that you're going in the right direction with the drums. They need to be more aggressive. They need to be a bit more in your face, I think. And then you need to keep writing the song. You need, like, I would almost, before I would work too much more on the drums and sound, I'd probably try to finish the track. It doesn't feel like a whole track to me. It feels like it should break down and build back up and then go again and then done, you know? So I would try to like rough out the structure of the song and then go back and embellish and make the drums better and stuff. But strictly speaking, on the sound of the drums, I do find that the hi-hats are just a little too soft and gentle and dainty. Am I crazy, or does it show side channel randomly when you paused? I don't really know what you mean about that. Anyway, that's what I think. I think you made some good progress, and I would try to rough out the arrangement of the song before I do too much more. Otherwise, you will just get stuck in the producer cycle of polishing, and never finishing anything. Ask me how I know. All right, next up. I made this on my phone unmastered. Nastered. The title of this is a master class in setting expectations. I think that this title is really trying to set the expectation. So let's we'll just normalize. Let's have a listen. I can kind of already tell by looking at it that no, I'm going to listen first. Let's listen first. Also, what program did you use on your phone? Are you a Savant fan? So here's what I think. I think that maybe this is outside of the realm of possibilities, but I think that maybe you should try to get FL Studio not mobile, because even though Rayhem says being on blah, 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 not an excuse, blah, 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 I'm British, I'm just mean to everybody, blah. I still think that you would have a much easier time on desktop FL Studio. But anyway, going back, I think you got there's some cool sound design happening here. What I'm not hearing is a song. I'm hearing a beat. Sorry, mean isn't the right word, Raham. You are blunt. How about that? Sure, but sometimes I feel like you enjoy it a bit too much, and that's leaning towards mean. Like you're like, yes, I get to be blunt. You have good points. I'm not shitting on your points, but I am saying that sometimes it seems like you enjoy shitting on people's tracks just 10-15% more than maybe you should. Anyway, going back to the track. I think what this sounds like is an exercise in beat making, an exercise in sound design, but I don't hear a melody. I don't hear an idea or a theme. I hear so like that beam 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 beam, that thing, cool. Okay, that's a melody, but we're a minute into the song before we got that melody. So to me it just feels kind of like insignificant or unimportant. It sounds like a background element that you've added to continue the build of the progression of the drop. So maybe there are some themes and some ideas and motifs in here somewhere, but excuse me, I have the hiccups apparently now, but they're not arranged in a way. It's your monitor's playing a split second before you pause through your mic. Yeah, I have like a sidechain compressor that has like probably like a 10 millisecond delay or something. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah. So the way it's arranged so far, we're a minute and 15 seconds in, and yeah, we started to get a melody, but like the intro is just kind of like bare minimum. Yeah, you're bringing stuff in. It just does. It's not an inspiring track. It doesn't grab my attention. It just sounds like some pretty cool sound design. Like you're doing a good job with the synths and stuff. Like I hear it down to na 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 na. Like I hear some stuff in there, but it's not obvious what the idea of the song is. It doesn't sound like a song. It sounds like you learning how to do sound design, which is maybe what it is, and that's fine. I mean, I have hundreds of that shit on I have hundreds of those songs on my computer of me just trying to figure out how to make a thing sound a certain way. And then I'd put it under a beat and I'm like, cool, I guess I learned that. It's time to move on. You know, that's kind of what it sounds like to me. I would also maybe say, to get a bit more granular on like the production stuff, you have a lot of sounds that are happening kind of on top of each other. So sometimes it's best to, if you have like the thing that goes do 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 do, like don't have anything else happening while it does the do 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 do, and then bring back in the wub and have the wubs a bit more serial, like one and then the next and then the next, instead of everything kind of playing on top of each other. So and then the cool stuff about like this complextro savant style is the phrasing that you can make out of the most seemingly unrelated sounds. You can create a phrase or a sentence out of like the most unrelated sounding sounds. Yes, Raham, send it over. But you're kind of writing words on top of other words, right? Like you've got like there's 2 or 3 things happening at any given point in time. You've got like the whoops, the upbeat whoops happening. Like I hear a phrase in there, but you got to carve it out a bit better because it's just there's too much stuff on top of each other. It's sort of like what's a good example? Can I do this? Let's find out. It looks like I might be able to do this. What's like a track that I've made that, I don't know, what, Existentia, maybe? Or, oh no, let's do Busted Out. I think that's a better example. We'll let my, voiceover. We'll let that load while we continue on. Let's keep going. See, like this section does it a little bit better, where it's kind of one sound at a at a time. Ready or not, bust it. 1, 2, 3, bust it. Oh, that was such a funny moment. Yeah, dude, I think the best advice I can give you right now is I think it's time to graduate to like real FL Studio, you know? Even if Rayham says you shouldn't need it. I think to me, a lot of the issues with this track right now is that it feels very unembellished. Like it just kind of, we've got like a few synths, we've got like a drum beat, but there's like not a lot of like background elements or like nuance. It's kind of missing nuance, little details and stuff that's really hard to do on the mobile version, as opposed to when you have the actual desktop version. You can have like a ton of sounds. So like here, I don't even know if this is going to play. So see how like individual sounds. So if can I do this solo? Yeah. Oh, I gotta. So I kind of like I'm creating like this phrase out of these individual sounds that I made and just like cut them and move them around. But your track sounds a bit more like, you know, like there's like this stuff and these things are kind of happening on top of each other. This is probably a bad example. But not really. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of what it sounds like to me, is that there's too many things happening on top of each other and you haven't created this phrase of this sound, then this sound, then this sound, then this sound, then this sound, this sound, this sound, this sound. It's like you've got like numerous phrases happening on top of each other. Anyway, let's go back to your track real quick. Yeah, so I would probably try to figure out how to get over on the real FL Studio on the computer. And then I would constantly remind yourself that you are writing music, not doing sound design. Sound design should be serving the song, not being the song, which is something that I still struggle with because it's so fun to do sound design and come up with interesting sounds and shit. And that's great for like showing, like, it's almost like a demo reel of like the sounds that you're able to make. But if they're not conveying any sort of idea or emotion or theme, then it's kind of just a demo reel of the sounds that you can make, right? So sound design is important, but it needs to serve the song. Okay, those are my thoughts. Thank you for sending. Let's check out Grim Worlds Color Base 2020 Whip. everything is sounding sick so far, except this sound that comes in is like really loud. Yeah, this is sounding really good, dude. I think vocals would be so good. I think vocals would solve pretty much any issues that I have with this so far. Like the only technical thing is that sound was a little too loud. It poked out more than the rest of the sounds. There was also, I think you should have like some sort of percussion thing come in right at the start of the build. I know you've got like the claps coming in halfway through. But to me, I was expecting more of a lift there. Yeah, I would bring drums in there sooner and then build them up to where it goes. But honestly, getting like a good vocal on this would really take it to the next level. And it doesn't have to be a vocal that goes the entire time. It could be the type of vocal that delivers some sort of, it's almost like a pre-chorus that you could put in right here. Yeah, I would have like a verse here and then like a pre-chorus here, and then probably have like a line in the pre-chorus that could be repeated periodically throughout the drop. Yeah, you've come a long way in 3 years. Good job. But yeah, I think keep going and maybe get a vocal on it. Maybe go outside and steal a vocalist, because it's a good track. I really like melodically it sounds great, and I like the chiptune vibe, and it just, to me, to have like an airy vocal, like female vocal on it to really drive the idea of the song home, and to borrow some of the really good melodies that are already there with the chiptune stuff, and to like the melodies are kind of already somewhat written. But now you need to find somebody who can write words and be a vocalist, just generally be able to sing and stuff. But yeah, sounds dope. I don't know that I would change much about it besides vocals, drums at the start of the build, and then make your drop, the drop that's not there. All right, that was easy. All right, Evangelist. Check out the fucking transient on that. Here we go. This is scary. What's happening on the spectrum? Let's just take a little quick peek at, wait, what is this called? Evangelist. Evangelist. Are we going to do a, oh, I'm sorry, but we got it's got to happen. I will say this, it's unique. This is a very unique sounding track, but I do have to, for tradition, I have to shame you on the 160. Let's see here. We'll play it while I shame you. Okay, so bitrate aside, like I am actually impressed at how little information there is in this spectrum. I don't know what DAW you are using. I'm not sure what your export settings are. Well, I guess I do know what your export settings are. They're 160 kilobits per second. So that's an easy fix. Make sure that when you render your tracks, you render them at, if you're going to do an MP3, do 320. If you're going to do a wave, then do a wave. That's 44416 or whatever. So there's a few issues here. The chords are a little dissonant. The chords there's too many notes too close together, and they're a little too chromatic sounding. So I would start by learning, and I hate suggesting getting chord packs, just because I don't know. It just feels wrong to me. I don't know if it is. I mean, we all use similar chords a lot of the time, but getting a chord pack would at least give you an idea in like the piano roll, how a more pleasing chord structure looks. Watch the Andrew Huang video and you'll learn something. Yeah, I think the biggest thing is, well, the thing is, Grim, that you did learn music theory. You just didn't learn music theory. Like, you just don't know necessarily that you're doing a 1-4-5 whatever. Like, it sounds good, and if you go up 3 semitones and then come down 2, like, music theory. You just didn't learn it in the traditional way. So I would probably focus most of your time on just getting an understanding of the basics when it comes to chord, like normal chord progressions. And a lot of the time it's best to start off with almost painfully typical chord progressions, like pop, 4-chord pop chord progressions, just the most painful, because that's kind of the foundation that a lot of other chord progressions are built on. It's just maybe you change the voicing, or maybe you add in a 7th chord instead of just a straight up major chord. There's, and I'm not very good at music theory either. I'm similar to Grim, except probably 20 years older. So wait, yeah, actually probably 20. I'm probably 20 years older than Grim. I'm 36. I don't know how old Grim is, but I actually might be 20 years older than Grim, which is kind of depressing. Anyway, because what I'm hearing here is just a lot of just dissonant, like chromatic. And when I say chromatic, I mean like a lot of notes that are right next to each other, and it's just not following like music theory rules. Like those chords, for example. Let's see. Like that's a C major. If I play that down here, those are the same notes, but they're down too low and they're too close together when you go down there. So there's just kind of some rules like that. Or you could change the voicing of it, like now this is a C major with different voicing. So anyway, it's hard for me to give you feedback. When I think you need to just get some of the basics under your belt. And Raham suggested a Andrew Huang. I think, yeah, he's got lots of great tutorials and lots of great like beginner stuff. And I'm assuming that you're not too far along your producer journey. And that's okay. It's okay I mean, like, we're all growing, and I think you really need to sit down and learn the basics and write some very cheesy sounding chords so that you sorry, I'm reading. You don't call me early. That's funny. I don't even know if I said it right. Anyway, yeah. That's what I would do. I would start with the most cheesiest chord progressions that the world has to offer. And then get spicy, then add some spice. But you gotta know how to use the basic fundamental tools that are at your disposal, and then bend them to your will. Unless you're just trying to make something that sounds like a fever dream, because it kind of sounds a bit fever dreamish. Imagine, like, I'm assuming that this is a sample of a chord of like a piano player playing something, but all of a sudden, like, all of the music theory is just like, oh, this is great music theory. I guess I don't necessarily understand what you're going for with this song. It's kind of scary sounding. I don't know. I'm sorry if none of that helps. Those are just my thoughts. And also, yeah, you could fit like a whole other song above the spectrum, but that's just the render settings. That's an easy fix. So anyway, keep at it. Keep sending stuff in, and I'll keep telling you how I feel. All right, down to the last few. We got a Dexy High K. Yeah, I think it's cool, and it is very 2017 Monster Cat. I do agree with that. I think that overall, you're like your kick and bass are just a little overbearing. It kind of sounds like when you get in your friend's car and you're trying not to be a snob, but you're like, "Can I look at your EQ settings?" And they've got the bass at +6, which is as high as it goes. For some reason, it goes to 6. Like, why not 10 or 100 or 30? But no, 6. Anyway, that's what it seems like. It seems like I got into my friend's 2009 Corolla, and they have turned the bass knob all the way to 6. And I get it. It's bass music, but I feel like Ableton goes to 6 too. 6 dB. That's twice times 2. That's I don't know. Is to make the bass sound louder. Yeah, I think like yeah, the sub and the kick, I think you could just bring them down and then everything else could come up a little bit and it would add a bit more life to the track because, again, I always say this, like, you can bring the bass down and bring everything back up and now the bass is back where it was, but everything else is louder, you know? Like, you're limiting yourself with the limiter because of the amount of sub that is happening. But besides that, it's cool. I think it ended a little abruptly. I like the tempo change. It's interesting. The arrangement is different. It's only 2.5 minutes long, so it kind of felt a little incomplete, maybe. I mean, maybe you build it dun 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 back up to the full speed and drop again, maybe. I don't know. And maybe that would make sense for like a DJ kind of situation because all of a sudden now if you want to get out at a certain tempo, there you go. But if you want to get out back at the original tempo, then you wait and now we're back to the original tempo. The arrangement just kind of felt incomplete to me. And it's not necessarily the length, but that could have something to do with it. 2.5 minutes is a little short unless it's like a Jackal, trap song or something. But besides that, sounds dope. I like it. Okay. Last couple, we got Big Block Dubs, the Spark remix. So far, it kind of reminds me of the Rolex Sweep by Skepta. I like that. It sounds like a dying elephant. Nick, I need you to send you something. These are sure. So I think like the vocals, I think you need to figure out a way of like having the vocals more up front in sections that don't have the wub. The wubs and the vocals the wubs just make it so you can't really understand what the vocals are doing. So the vocals just become kind of like a noise layer. So I would try to maybe do some creative things, maybe drop out the wubs at the end of the measure and then have the vocal do its thing and then come back in with the wubs or vice versa. To me, I'm kind of like, all I can hear is the wubs, but I want to know what the vocals are doing. So maybe if you had the vocals leading up to the drop and then not during the first part of the drop, but then cut them in periodically during the drop, it just, to me, the wubs and the vocals just don't work well together. Where's the dying elephant? Yeah, like I feel like the vocals and the wubs should have their own sections. Put it in the stream thing, because I can't click those links on my screen when you send it in the chat. See, I don't know. I think it's worth a try. Maybe have dedicated sections for the vocal thing, and then a dedicated section for the wub thing. And that's not to say that you can't have some wubs during some moments of the vocal drops and some vocals during the wub drops. But to me, to have the wubs and the vocals going simultaneously the whole time, it just doesn't really work as well as I think it could. So wait, this is the... Honestly, that's sick. Oh my god. I found it.
I found it. Everybody in the crowd
So, okay, I understand how that could maybe make isolating the vocals and treating them differently maybe a bit more challenging. So I'll go a little more lenient on you for that, because now I realize it's kind of a bootleg, but I mean, it's a sick bootleg. Oh, hey, we got a free sample here. Anybody want a dying elephant? Dying elephant one shot? Oh, God. Anyway, whatever. I'm not going to steal it. I might. Thank you for setting. It was sick. I still stand by the vocal wub fighting each other thing. Besides that, it's dope. All right. This is interesting. What is going on with the little... What's with this little noise on top? What is that all about? Is this you sent a master and somebody put stuff on the master? All right, let's have a listen. This is dope. I really like this. Yeah, these sections are loud. Like the sharpness of the vocal cuts through a bit too much. The kick is like, the transient is so fucking transienty. Yeah, the kick feels weird to me. The kick is like, it almost feels scooped or something. Like it's got lots of punch, it's got lots of transient, but it's got I think it's got too much transient. But the track is sick. I think it needs vocals, especially like here. This is my least favorite section. Okay, well, vocals are definitely going to help. But yeah, this slow version, the track is so hype. I would maybe not do this like halftime chill thing, maybe until like a breakdown section. I'd get to this. Because I just don't, I think the track is so hype that if you just go to like this chill section so soon, it kind of confuses me. I'm like, well, am I partying or am I crying? And don't think that I haven't done both at the same time. Now, obviously, you know, maybe the vocals give it more context and it makes more sense. But to me, like that chill section is nice. It sounds nice and chill and like it sounds good. But the track is so like fucking rocking that to me, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense unless you rocked out for a while. And then you're like, okay, it's time to take a little break here so that we can catch our breath and then hit us again, you know? I think that's maybe the move. But this is sick, dude. It's sounding really good. And keep going. I guess that's it. Cool. All right. Well, thank you everybody for hanging out. I love you all. I got to pee so bad as always, because I always drink a coffee and I usually eat supper at my parents' before I do this. And I drink 2 glasses of water and then usually have tea as well. So I probably have upwards of 1.5 liters of fluids in my body at the start of the stream. And then we stream for what, 3 hours, 2 hours, 2.5 hours. So biologically speaking, my body is struggling to contain the fluids which I have ingested prior to the stream. Anyway, that's pretty much what I got. I love you all. Have a good weekend, and I will see you next week. Okay, bye. I'm going to click the stuff. Bye.